I want you to consider these couple of figures. The economy grew at an average rate of 1% in the 10 quarters before the 2003 tax cuts on capital gains. Capital gains are the money, the benefits that you realize on bricks and mortar type assets that create more wealth. So there were tax cuts on the risk-taking capital, and we have seen on that and also on dividends that the economy has grown. Once we cut taxes, the big hue and cry that all these talking heads on MSNBC, they just cry a river and say, oh, if you cut taxes, you're not going to bring revenue into the government, we're all going to suffer and die. And what happened? When we cut taxes in 01 and in 03, the average rate of growth in the economy, instead of being 1%, tripled to 3.1%. 3 times the level of growth with those tax cuts. The economy, here's another statistic to remember. The economy was losing 92,000 jobs a month. 92,000 jobs a month in the 29 months before the 2003 tax cuts on capital gains and dividends. Since then, we have been increasing in net jobs, averaging 167,000 jobs per month. We have been adding into this economy, and unemployment, although there's been spikes, especially with mortgages and subprime problems, still the economy has been on a way growth curve. But it seems that this year that tax policy has become a lot like golf. You are aiming for the green, but you are winding up in the hole. And that's exactly where Charlie Rangel has been taking us. We've been reminded more now than ever. It's crystal clear. And this is something that we can capitalize on. This is not a guess at where Democrats are, but what's really appalling is that you come here, and I tell people back home, all the cliches that you think about liberals and conservatives, they're true. They're absolutely true. Can't believe it, but it's true. But our differences are clear between the liberal freewheeling spending majority and over how to keep America competitive and our approach regarding fiscal responsibility. The Democrats' fiscal year 2008 budget, remember this figure, it passed in May. We all, again, our eyes bugged out of our heads because we couldn't believe the vicious cycle that they were willing to put their John Henry on. They called for raising taxes on the American economy $217 billion. This is their budget. This is what they're beating their chest about, which they were so proud of. It's the single largest tax increase in American history. And this is their key, this is their recipe for growing the economy. In June, we then voted on the energy reform bill. Now, this is the energy bill that has no energy in it. There is no energy in the energy bill. Here we are. Now, remember this. When Nancy Pelosi took office, oil was being sold at $52 a barrel. You know what it was this week? $98 a barrel. That's what's happened with these phenomenal spike ups in spending. Now, you'd think when you have oil going from $52 a barrel up to $98 a barrel that maybe you should think about new sources of supply and trying to make it easier for the energy industry in this country. But what has been their recipe for success? What they wanted to do was increase taxes on domestic sources of energy production, on oil and gas. So if you tax something, like our former President Ronald Reagan said, you just may be surprised that you might get a little less of it. And so here they are raising taxes, $15 billion on the oil and gas industry, which will not be lowering prices at the pump or increase America's energy independence. In fact, at the end of July,